Throughout the space there's a galaxy called the Milky Way. The galaxy is a system of millions, perhaps billions of stars, with gas and dust held together by gravitational attraction. Our solar system is where the arrow is pointing. Compare the size of the Milky Way to our solar system. Our solar system is like a dot in the Milky Way. Earth is like a dot in our solar system. There are 9 different planets in the solar system. The names of those planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and last but not least, Pluto. Pluto has lost its status as a planet because of its small size and unusual orbit around the Sun. So, Pluto is now a dwarf planet. Each planet has a fact file. I'm going to give the fact file of Earth now. Earth has got its name from Anglo-Saxon word eorthe, which means ground. Earth's distance from the Sun is about 150 million kilometers. Its diameter is actually 12,756 kilometers. Its mass is about 5.9 sextillion tons, which is a 25-digit number. However, even though this is such big number, Earth's mass is just a fraction of some other objects in the universe. For example, the Sun has 333,000 times more mass than Earth, and Jupiter has 318 times more mass than Earth. Earth has one moon, which orbits around it. Earth also turns around its own axis, which gives us day and night. This rotation takes 23 hours and 56 minutes to be completed. We rounded up to 24 hours. Like all other planets in the solar system, Earth also orbits the Sun. It takes 365.25 days for Earth to complete this orbit. This is the length of 1 year. As Earth is slightly tilted, we get 4 different seasons as it travels through space on its journey around the Sun. The type of season that we have depends on Earth's position against the Sun at any given time. Earth is surrounded by a layer of gas, which is called the atmosphere. The atmosphere consists of the following gases: nitrogen 78%, oxygen 21%. Without oxygen, the life of humans and animals would not be possible. On its surface, Earth contains huge amounts of water. Approximately 3/4 of its surface is covered by water, and about 1/4 is land. Water is also needed to sustain life. Mars is a sister planet to Earth. because Earth and Mars were formed around the same time, 4.5 billion years ago. Mars has no life, but astronomers are looking for life. Mars looked like our planet, and not only that, but it had water and land like we have today. In the early days, Mars looks red and rocky, but the land has dried up because Mars doesn't have magnetic field, and the liquid on Mars boiled and evaporated into the space. On Earth, the magnetic field protects everything from destructive power of the solar winds. Mars is the most studied planet, apart from Earth. More than 20 probes have visited and others are on their way. Scientists are now investigating ways to send astronauts to our red neighbor, Phobos, and even smaller, Deimos. The two Martian moons are completely covered in craters and a layer of dusty, shattered rock. They have irregular shapes and may be even asteroids captured by Mars's gravity. Mars has got its name from the Roman god of war. The distance from the Sun is 228 million kilometers. Diameter of Mars is 6,780 kilometers. The mass is only about 10.7% of the mass of Earth. Atmosphere of Mars consists mostly of carbon dioxide, which is a deadly gas. Mars has got two moons, as I mentioned before. The length of rotation time for Mars is 24 hours and 37 minutes. Length of year is 687 Earth days. The most massive of all of the planets, Jupiter, is an enormous ball of gas, consisting mostly out of hydrogen and helium, like the Sun, along with small amounts of water, methane, and ammonia. This gas giant does not have a solid surface. The upper layers are Jupiter's gas, but deeper down, as the pressures and temperatures increase, the hydrogen and helium becomes more like a liquid. Deeper still, the hydrogen and helium behave like a liquid metal. Right in the middle of Jupiter, there's a little core, but it is 3 times hotter than the Sun's surface. A day on Jupiter is 10 hours long. This rapid spin creates winds up to 500 kilometers an hour and whips its colorful clouds into long bands. The light bands are called zones. The dark bands which are known as belts, show deeper layers. Among the zones and belts are a number of thrilling oval spots. These giant storms that thrive on the energy of the winds also heat from Jupiter's core. In 1610, astronomer Galileo Galilei discovered Jupiter's 4 moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Today we know of 63 moons, ranging from Ganymede at 5,278 kilometers across to Leda at 16 kilometers across. In 1979, the Voyager 1 discovered also that Jupiter had rings. These are mostly made of microscopic dust particles. Jupiter is the most powerful of the Roman gods. The distance from the Sun is 778 million kilometers. Diameter is 142,984 kilometers. The mass of Jupiter is 317.8 times that of Earth's mass. Out of 63 moons, the largest are the Galilean moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Length of one day is 9 hours and 55 minutes. The length of 1 year is 11.9 Earth years. The lovely planet with the thrilling rings is Saturn. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune have rings, but Saturn's are the most magnificent. From Earth, we can see what looks like 3 broad, smooth rings. Next comes the Cassini division, a dark gap 4,670 kilometers across. The B ring is the widest and brightest, 25,750 kilometers across. The narrower C ring, just inward, appears pale and semi-transparent. Four spacecrafts, Pioneer 11, Voyagers 1 and 2, and Cassini, have visited Saturn since 1979. They revealed that the rings are made up of thousands of ringlets made up of icy cold rocks. Even the empty-looking Cassini division contains many particles. Scientists think that the rings are remains of the several smashed moon particles. As time passes, ring particles collide slowly and spiral into Saturn. Millions of years from now they will be gone. Saturn seems like a pale, cool copy of Jupiter, except the rings of Saturn are wider and bigger. Saturn has no solid surface, like Jupiter, and it is nearly all out of hydrogen and helium, with traces of other gases such as methane and ammonia. Although Saturn is almost as big as Jupiter, it only has 30% its mass. A bit like a giant marshmallow, Saturn could float if you can find a big enough ocean. Saturn is big enough that Earth can fit 760 times. Saturn is the furthest planet from Earth, visible to the naked human eye. The yellow and gold bands seen in Saturn's atmosphere are the result of super-fast winds in the upper atmosphere, which can reach up to 1,800 kilometers per hour around its equator, combined with heat rising from the planet's interior. Did you know about the Cassini-Huygens mission is international collaboration between 3 space agencies, and 17 nations contributed to building the spacecraft. Cassini spacecraft was launched in October 1997, and it reached Saturn in 2004. It has been sending a stream of useful data back to Earth ever since. More than 250 scientists worldwide studied the data collected. Cassini carried a Huygens probe which landed on Titan, Saturn's largest moon, on January 14, 2005. The landing was successful and the probe sent back a lot of spectacular data. Saturn's fact file. Saturn is 4.6 billion years old. The average temperature is minus 150 degrees Celsius. Diameter is 54,364 kilometers. The distance from the Sun is 1,432 million kilometers. Estimated mass is a 29-digit number which begins with 57, and I don't know how to read such a number, but its mass is more than 95 times that of Earth. As there is no gravity in space, we could only make estimates. Length of 1 year is 29.4 Earth years. There are 62 moons orbiting Saturn, and the largest is Titan. Length of 1 day in Earth's hours and minutes is 10 hours and 39 minutes.